Hello there, and thank you very much for joining us today in this new Azure Portal how-to video. Today, we'll learn about improvements to the portal experience that will help you to manage your Kubernetes application. And for that, we have Jenna Netland, who's going to show us all about that. So thank you very much for joining us, Jenna.
Yeah, thanks, Leon. It's great to be back. I'm excited to show you all the improvements we've made, so let's dive right in. So here I have a cluster that I just deployed. You may already notice some updates to the experience, but the one that I'm looking at today is the Kubernetes resources section. This is a new area where you can actually view Kubernetes resources that are running inside of your cluster. We have things like namespaces, a variety of workloads, including deployments, pods, replica sets, and more, and services and ingresses to help you out with networking. Now, this is not a full set of services, but we're going to keep adding more as we go through. Today, though, I want to actually add a new deployment. So I'm going to go to the Workloads menu, and I'm going to click Add. From here, if I have a manifest file already, I can just copy it directly into this editor. If I don't happen to have a manifest just lying around on my desktop, I can actually borrow the one from the AKS team, which is what we're going to do today. This sample application from AKS is going to give us 4 pieces: a backend deployment, a backend service, which will make sure our front end can talk to our backend, the actual front-end deployment to run the front end, and then finally a front-end service that will make sure our front end is accessible from the internet. I'm going to go ahead and copy this and paste it right here into this window and hit Add. And here you can see we are in fact creating 4 resources, 2 of which you can already see here. These are the 2 deployments that I showed, which are the backend and the front end. And if I refresh, they're actually already ready to go. If I take a closer look, I can actually see some basic properties about this deployment, and I can see the pods and even replica sets that are part of it. There's more tabs that we'll explore a little bit later. For now, let's go look at the services. So we expected 2 services, and we should get exactly 2 services. Here they are, a front end and a back end. You'll notice something special about this front end service, which is that it has an external IP address. This is because we wanted our application to be accessible to the public internet, so we made it a type load balancer. If I click this link, it'll take us to our brand new application that we just deployed, where we can vote on whether or not we prefer cats or dogs. So within a few minutes, we've gone from having a brand new cluster to having our very own sample application up and running. Now, things go pretty smoothly when you're using a sample application, but we know that's not always the case in the real world. So we've also built in some debugging capabilities that you can use to try to identify and fix any issues with your application. This is supposed to be a web server that my teammate and I are working on, and we're supposed to demo it later today, so I really need to figure out what's wrong and try to get this fixed. It's running on this cluster, and from the looks of it, this cluster is doing fine, so there may be something that we've missed in our configuration. I'm first going to check our service that's exposing this application to make sure everything looks good. There's a lot of services that are here by default, and I only want the ones that are part of my team's namespace, so I'll go ahead and filter this list. I'm checking and the external IP addresses seem to match, and Kubernetes is saying that this service is okay, so maybe it's something wrong with our deployment. Let's go check on our deployments. And once again, rather than looking at all the deployments, I only want the ones from my team's namespace. So I'm going to filter to just my team. And it looks like something's wrong. So let's go investigate. If I open up that deployment, I can look at, again, the details of this deployment, but I can also see the pods. And it looks like both pods are experiencing the same issue. So let's dive even deeper. This seems like there's something wrong with my deployment, but I'm going to go into the pod to try to debug this. From the pod view, I once again get a detailed information about some of the different properties. I get another piece of information about the status and why things might be wrong. But in this case, I want to dive even deeper, so I'm going to go into the list of events that have happened on this pod. From here, I can see a record of different actions that have been taken and whether or not they were successful. This message in particular is standing out to me as something that I might want to look at in more detail. So by clicking on it, I can actually bring up the full response from Kubernetes with a detailed message about what might be going wrong. In this case, I'm getting a message that says the repository does not exist, which could mean that I mistyped my image name and is trying to reference something that doesn't exist. And if I look at the image, yep, looks like we found the problem. My teammate and I were talking about this, and I mentioned that we should use the web server Nginx. Unfortunately, this isn't how it's spelled. So now that we know what's wrong, let's go ahead and fix it. I mentioned that both pods were experiencing the same error, so it seems like this is an issue that we should fix at the deployment level. So I'm going to go back to my deployment, and I'm going to go ahead and go to this YAML tab. From here, I can see the full definition of this deployment, and I can even make quick edits in line. So here, I can see where this error is happening with this image name, and I'm going to go ahead and fix this to the correct spelling of Nginx. I can review my changes to make sure that only what I wanted to change is changed and everything else stays the same, confirm them, and then save. My deployment will be updated. Let's go see how that's going. So you can see that already Kubernetes is going to be making some updates to these pods. The pods that were broken were already being terminated, and my new pods are coming up with the actual correct image. If I refresh, everything looks good to go. So let's go back and check on our application. We're going to refresh it, and perfect! Everything is now back up and running. We'll be good to go for our demo later today. So today we've gone from having no application deployed on our Kubernetes cluster to having an application up and running, and we've managed to save our demo by making a quick fix to our running Kubernetes application.
This is great, Jenna. Thank you very much for showing us that. And thanks every one of you for watching. Please try this out and let us know what you think. Leave us a comment, follow us on Twitter, and look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching.